Every legend has an origin story. Some begin in palaces, others begin here, on crowded streets, under relentless sun, where survival itself is a daily negotiation. On October 11th, 1982, in Lagos, Nigeria, Ramon Olorunwa Abbas was born into poverty. His father drove a taxi. His childhood was defined not by privilege, but by hustle.
I've been a taxi driver for over 20 years now. I love this job. You meet all kinds of people from all walks of life.
In Lagos, success is often measured by escape. Escape from poverty, escape from invisibility. It is a city where millions wake before dawn, chasing survival through traffic, heat, and noise. Where talent is abundant, but opportunity is scarce. Where dreams crowd the streets as tightly as people do, and not everyone can be seen, no matter how hard they work. To escape poverty in Lagos is not just to earn money, it is to outrun hunger, uncertainty, and the quiet fear of being forgotten. To escape invisibility is something else entirely. It is to be noticed in a city that does not stop to look back, to matter, to exist loudly enough that the world cannot ignore you. Here, wealth is proof of arrival, not subtle wealth, but visible wealth, the kind that announces itself. Designer clothes, luxury cars, foreign accents, and photographs taken far from home. These are not just symbols of success, they are shields against being overlooked again. For many young men, the message is unspoken but clear. If you are not seen, you are nothing. If you are seen, you have survived. Social media did not invent this hunger, but it magnified it. Platforms like Instagram offered something Lagos never could: instant visibility, validation without borders, fame without permission, a chance to be somebody, somewhere, to everyone, all at once. And so escape became performance. Success became something you wore, posted, and proved daily. The line between aspiration and deception blurred, not because people didn't know the difference, but because the reward for being seen often felt greater than the cost of being honest. In that environment, Hushpuppi did not appear as an anomaly. He appeared as a solution, a symbol of what escape could look like if it worked. And for a time, it did.
But ambition has a shadow. By his early 20s, Ramon was known for something else: online fraud. In Nigeria, it had a name: Yahoo Boys. In 2011, Ramon Abbas left Nigeria for Dubai. With him, he carried a new identity and a carefully constructed lie. He called himself Hushpuppi, and the world watched. On Instagram, he sold a dream: wealth without explanation, luxury without limits. He claimed real estate, entrepreneurship, motivation. Behind the filters and curated captions was a machinery of fraud, precise, methodical, and largely invisible to the people it harmed. This was not chance or impulse, it was structure. Business email compromise scams designed to exploit trust, impersonate authority, and move money before suspicion had time to catch up. Emails rewritten mid-conversation, invoices altered by a single digit, signatures forged so perfectly they raised no alarm. Once the money moved, it vanished, split across accounts, layered through shell companies, washed clean through jurisdictions that rarely spoke to one another. By the time victims realized the deception, there was nothing left to retrieve. Investigators would later follow those digital trails across the globe, from New York, where a law firm was deceived into wiring tens of millions of dollars, to Europe, where a major bank fell victim to a sophisticated cyber intrusion, to England, where an elite football club narrowly avoided losing a fortune meant for the world's biggest sport. Each target was different, each scheme uniquely tailored, but the architecture behind them was the same, carefully engineered, globally coordinated, and built to scale. As the investigation deepened, it revealed that this was more than financial crime. Evidence pointed to darker alliances, funds laundered on behalf of state-backed hackers, money stolen through international cyber attacks, and quietly funneled through trusted intermediaries. And then there was corruption at its most disturbing, allegations that law enforcement itself had been compromised, that bribes were paid, rivals targeted, and authority weaponized to protect the operation. At this level, crime was no longer about survival or greed alone. It was about control, about influence, about believing the system could be bent indefinitely without consequence. But every network leaves a trail. Every illusion has a fracture point. And while the world continued to scroll past images of private jets and designer clothes, the machinery behind the illusion was already unraveling, piece by piece, transaction by transaction, until there was nowhere left to hide.
Get down!
I'm innocent. I didn't do anything.
June 2020. The illusion ended. In the early hours of the night, the silence around one of Dubai's most exclusive luxury apartments was broken by flashing lights and forced doors. What had once been a stage for wealth and spectacle became a crime scene. This was not a routine arrest. It was the culmination of months of quiet surveillance, intelligence sharing, and international coordination. Law enforcement had been watching, patiently, while the world kept scrolling. Inside, the symbols of success lay exposed. Stacks of cash where style once reigned. Luxury vehicles no longer objects of envy, but evidence. Designer bags, watches, and electronics reduced to inventory numbers in an evidence log. But the most valuable seizure was not visible to the eye. Investigators uncovered laptops and phones containing more than 800,000 victim email addresses, digital fingerprints of a global operation that had touched businesses, institutions, and individuals across continents. In that moment, the influencer persona collapsed. The myth of untouchability dissolved under the weight of proof. Operation Fox Hunt was not about spectacle. It was about accountability. A reminder that in a connected world, borders may slow justice, but they no longer stop it. And as the cameras rolled and headlines spread, one truth became clear. The life built on illusion had finally met reality. Extradited to the United States, Ramon Abbas finally faced the legal system he once believed he could outrun. Arrested in Dubai in June 2020 and handed over to U.S. authorities, he was transported first to Chicago and later to Los Angeles to confront charges that stretched far beyond the glamour of his online persona. Inside an American courtroom, the facade of luxury gave way to legal reality. Court filings laid out a stark picture of scheme after scheme, online scams, business email compromise frauds, and international money laundering conspiracies that funneled the proceeds of crime around the globe. In July 2021, Abbas entered a plea of guilty to one count of conspiracy to engage in money laundering, acknowledging his role in laundering tens of millions of dollars derived from these illicit activities. On the screen, the sentence appeared in stark text: 135 months. In November 2022, He was sentenced to 135 months in federal prison, over 11 years, by Judge Otis D. Wright II. Alongside the prison term came an order to pay nearly $1.7 million in restitution to victims whose lives had been upended by his crimes. The sentence was meant to reflect both the scale and impact of his offenses. Prosecutors described Abbas as one of the most prolific money launderers in the world, whose carefully cultivated image on social media had masked a calculated role in global cybercrime. As the courtroom drama unfolded, it became clear. The glamour that once defined him was now the backdrop to a cautionary tale, one in which wealth built on deception leads not to freedom, but to years behind bars.